in your role as brand experience manager, like how do you use commonsku to amp your team's sales? Like you mentioned to me, I thought this was interesting. You said I'm a newsfeed stalker. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What did you mean by that?
Okay, so I always like say it's like Gen X and everybody. I'm like, if you like Facebook, like let me tell you, that newsfeed will really scratch that itch. Um, I like to do it because you see a lot of things. Like, so for example, a couple weeks back, I had a client who was like, "Hey, I am starting to look for intern ideas. Can you start to put together summer interns for my company? I like giveaways and like onboarding for their interns." And I was like, "Okay." And then I was in the news feed, and lo and behold, like I scroll down, and I see somebody from another team was like, intern swag. And then like I kept scrolling. I was like, and there was another one was like intern request. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not just me. Like now it is officially intern time. So then I was like, okay, I need to
It's
book
cool.
out. But then I also, because I do stuff for the whole team, I was like, okay, like I need to start building out like a shop or something for the whole team in case we have requests that haven't come in. So now they can be proactive and just send out a shop for their
Mm.
clients ahead of time because
Oh,
yes, we have these three requests, but like I also look in collections and I'm like, okay, like that's not trending right now, but it'll happen. So similarly, like that will happen where it's like we're already prepping Pride stuff that hasn't really hit everybody else. Like that's usually like a May
yeah.
request.
Mhm.
But if you really want to get ahead of it and you really want to do like full custom projects, you got to really think way far in advance. And so sometimes you just like see things where you're like, oh, like it's not just one client, it's multiple clients. Okay. Another one is I go through and look a lot of times, like you'll see, like, I'll be like, oh my God, like somebody just put like 100K estimate together. And is it like those are the types of things where it's like we should, if we have like a big project, like, and we really want to present well, like we should be getting ahead of that and it shouldn't get to the estimate stage to find out about it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm like, okay. So then we go back and like ask them, like, oh, like awesome, like great job. And it's like, oh, this snowballed, like it was this little thing and then it snowballed. And so then we can kind of go back and say, like, okay, like always, like we can come in and try to help you out. But that's another way that I always am on the news feed because you'll see like these crazy things pop up. And then it's like, oh, did we win that? Did we lose it? Like
Yeah.
close. So I think that like for managers, I'm like, you will see a lot of times managers are like a little bit removed and not necessarily in the weeds. And so when you're having your one-on-ones, like you might not even see these projects. They might not even get brought up on your one-on-one, right? But if
Yeah.
you're seeing it, you could be like, oh, hey, like I saw this was on this, you booked this or you did that. Or if you have like large teams and you're like extremely removed, like maybe you're two steps above, you can go in and like a lot of projects. You're like, oh, this person booked this, or like this is that. So it kind of lets you see what's going on without having to be like really in it.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah. And then I also really like to go to the community feed, because people will request things that you had never thought of. And then I sort of will like screenshot it and like file it away because I do have like a pretty like I'm really good at remembering random things. So I know if like I screenshot it, I'll be like somebody will ask for something, I'll be like, I remember 3 months ago somebody asked for that. So
Yeah.
you'll get like really interesting responses too. So, like I always like look to see like what are people responding? Is there like a vendor that I hadn't heard of? Like just to kind of see what's out there.